All right, the new year is right around the corner. And you know what that means? Everyone's talking about resolutions. But what if, this year, you could do something different? What if instead of just hoping for a better year, you could actually design it? Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today. Daniel Pink's amazing science-backed system for making it happen.
And this quote, this really gets to the heart of it all. It's about moving from just hoping things will get better to having real intention. Look, hope is great, we all need it, but hope isn't a plan. Intention, now that is a strategy.
And that's exactly what we're going to do in the next few minutes. We're going to walk you through a system that is simple, it's powerful, and honestly, it's proven to work. The goal here is to give you the clearest roadmap you've ever had for the year ahead.
This really breaks it down, doesn't it? On one side, you've got hope. It's kind of vague, it's passive, and it really depends on you feeling inspired, which, let's be honest, doesn't last. But then you look at intention. It's deliberate, it's structured, it's built on a system. That is the fundamental difference that changes everything.
Okay, so let's get into Act 1, laying the foundation. Because here's the thing, a great year doesn't just happen. You have to build it. And that build starts by looking backward with some real honesty so you can look forward with total intention. And the first tool for this is something called the regret review. Now, I know what you're thinking, regret, that sounds like a total downer, but trust me, it's the opposite. The research is super clear on this. Ignoring regret is the worst thing you can do. The best thing you can do is face it head on and use it, because regret isn't a sign of weakness, it's a set of instructions.
And the process is surprisingly simple. First, you just name it. What was your single biggest regret from last year? Get it out of your head and onto a piece of paper. Step 2, you extract the lesson. On a different piece of paper, you write down what you learned and how you'll act on that lesson. And then the best part. You take that first piece of paper, the one with the regret on it, and you literally crumple it up and throw it away. You get rid of the pain, but you hang on to the lesson. So powerful. Okay, so we've learned from the past. Now let's pivot and look to the future with a pretty wild question. What if you could actually stop failure before it even has a chance to happen? Seriously, what if you could spot the problems that are going to trip you up and just get rid of them in advance?
Well, you can. The tool is called a pre-mortem. You know what a post-mortem is, right? It's when doctors figure out why someone died. A pre-mortem is the opposite. You figure out why your project might die so you can save it ahead of time. It is a total game changer because it flips your perspective and forces you to see the future with incredible clarity.
Here's how it works. I want you to mentally jump forward to the end of next year. Imagine that big, important project of yours. It's a complete and total disaster, a dumpster fire. Now, from that future perspective, ask yourself, what went wrong? And just list out every single reason you can think of. Maybe you procrastinated. Maybe you didn't ask for help. Write it all down. Then you come back to today and you design systems to prevent every single one of those things from actually happening. It's like giving yourself a cheat code for success.
All right, so you've got your foundation, you've learned from your regrets, and you've preemptively squashed future failures. That brings us to Act 2, building the structure. This is where we create the daily systems that actually make all this stuff a reality. And the absolute centerpiece of this structure is the priorities compass. Just think of this as your one-page cheat sheet for the entire year. It's that thing you can look at every single week or even every day to make sure you're still heading in the right direction. So how does it work? Well, it breaks your year down into 4 key areas. Your North Star, that's your big project, your main mission for the year. To the east, that's all about relationships, the people you need to pour into. To the west, you've got your habits, those small daily things that compound over time. And then, heading south, and this might be the most important one, are the things you're going to subtract from your life.
Yeah, let's just hang on that idea for a second, because it is huge. We are all wired to think about what we can add to our lives. New goals, new habits, new projects. But subtraction? That is a legitimate superpower. Deciding what you're going to stop doing is often way more powerful than deciding what you're going to start.
And that brings us to the famous to-don't list. It is exactly what it sounds like. It's a list of things you commit to not doing. You know, like checking email first thing in the morning, or saying yes to meetings that have no point. The test for what goes on this list is super simple. Just ask yourself, if I stop doing this for the next 90 days, would my life get better? If the answer is a clear yes, then boom, it goes on the list. Okay, we've got the foundation, we've got the structure, but what happens in, March, when all that New Year energy is gone?
That brings us to Act 3, sustaining momentum. This is all about how you keep the fire burning all year long. And one of the simplest, most powerful ways to do that is with a one-word theme. Seriously, forget that long list of resolutions you can never remember. Just pick one single word to be your guidepost for the whole year. Maybe it's focus, maybe it's connect, or finish. Psychologists love this because it's what they call a self-cue. It's a tiny little reminder that instantly snaps your brain back to what truly matters to you. For example, Daniel Pink's theme for 1 year was ship. Why? Because after a lot of exploring and researching, he knew his focus needed to be on executing, on getting things done and out the door. So anytime he was tempted to start a new project instead of finishing an old one, that one word, ship, would pull him right back on course.
But here's the absolute truth, and we can't skip this part. Nobody, and I mean nobody, does great things alone. You just can't. Compliments from friends feel good, but they don't make you grow. For real growth, you have to intentionally build what the author Adam Grant calls a challenge network.
And a great network isn't about having 100 contacts. It's about having the right roles. You need 3 key people. You need a cheerleader, that person who just believes in you no matter what. You also need a challenger, the person who cares enough about you to tell you the hard truth you don't want to hear. And finally, you need a coach, someone who's a little further down the road and can see the things you can't. Think about it. Who are those 3 people for you? You know, as we pull this all together, this is really the most important thing to remember. This whole system, it's not about impressing other people. It's not about chasing goals that will look good online. It's about designing a year that feels like you. A year that's genuinely, authentically yours. So I'll leave you with this one last question to think about. If you had to boil it all down to a single word, what is the one word that will define your year? Because finding that word, that's your very first step. That's the moment you stop hoping and start designing.